Hello everyone, welcome to Melissa's Musing. As you know, I am Melissa Steele, real estate agent extraordinaire and host of Melissa's Musings, and as you can see I'm wearing a lot of makeup today. For those of you who might just be listening, and I'll fill you in on my visual look, I'm wearing a lot of makeup today. John and I had a photo shoot, so this is me post-photo shoot. And I haven't washed my face yet. I knew I couldn't come to you guys after washing my face because I'm sure that this is going to just melt. There's a lot of it on here. So anyways, today's musing is a really fascinating one. And while some of you guys are coming on in here, I'm going to tell you a little story about today's date. So 9 years ago today, I was, and as you're joining on in, let me know that you're here. Give me some hearts. But 9 years ago today, I was back at Canisius in Buffalo, my college, and I was dating another guy at the time. I had been seeing him over the Christmas holiday after I had broken up with my ex around October. And John went to a different school, and he went to high school with my roommate, Erin. So John and Erin went to like middle school and high school together and had grown up together. And he texted Erin and was like, hey, do you have any single friends? And she was like, no, I don't have any single friends, but you could come hang out with us. And John, 9 years ago tonight, waltzed into my life. He literally came over to my house to like see my roommate. Literally the moment, I always joke with John that the moment he laid eyes on me, I was helping my very drunk roommate, Lindsay, in the bathroom, and she like stumbled out of the bathroom and she was like kind of a mess, and she was like, John, we're gonna be best friends. And I was like, don't mind her, she's a mess. And I joke with John all the time that like literally the moment he laid his eyes on me, he had like googly eyes, I call them. And so he had googly eyes 9 years ago today, and right away I was like, oh, here's some guy looking at me. And we ended up going out together, having a great night as a group of friends, and John and I literally danced the entire night away. I kept pulling him on stage at like these dumpy college bars, and like the bouncers kept being like, sir, you cannot be on the stage with this, like with these girls. And I just kept pulling John up. Basically, long story short, we danced as if we'd known each other forever. I posted actually a photo of it on his birthday, so if you want to go back and find the photo of us the very first time we ever met dancing away on stage, there's a photo of it. Taken at Bayou in good old Buffalo. If anybody's watching that knows Bayou, give me a little shout out down below. But basically 9 years ago today, I met John. So imagine that. I would have never thought 9 years ago today, as I was helping my friend Lindsay in the bathroom, that I would have been walking out of there momentarily to meet my future husband. So, little side note, little story time with Melissa today. But we're going to be talking about, and we're going to dive right into it now that some of you guys are on here. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I see Oscar on here, Maria, Jenny, Robert. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So, I'm reading, as you guys know, in my musings these past few weeks, I've been showing, I've had a showcase of books. I'm reading like 5 books right now. Because it's the start of the year and I am committed to my reading habit and I couldn't choose, so I decided to start like 5 at once. But I'm learning so much and it's amazing. So I don't know if you guys remember, but if you watched my musing just a few days ago, I was listening to this book on tape, and then it was so freaking good that I literally had to order the book. And now I'm going back and I am not only going to probably listen to it again, but now I'm reading it. And I went in to look for a particular part that I had listened to the other day that I so badly wanted to learn more about, and it's what I'm going to be doing my musing on. So I found that this to be so fascinating because it talks about like positive and negative behaviors, whether it be habits or like behaviors or even influence. It talks about that, and it talks about it being contagious. And the reason that they did this experiment initially is because of the not the marketing, but the societal impact and kind of what the media was doing around the obesity epidemic, how they were associating like the issue of obesity in this country with an epidemic because it almost seemed as if the issues were contagious. And so they started doing this experiment, and this is so interesting. It says when so basically, like, it talks about the I can read it to you guys really quick because I'll just kind of give you the breakdown. But it says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are well known for tracking outbreaks like H1N1 virus and the early AIDS epidemic, but they also keep track of long-term changes to our national health, including the obesity rates in every state in the country. In 1990, no state in the nation had an obesity rate equal to or higher than 15%. By 1999, so 9 years later, 18 states had a rate between 20 and 24%, but still no state had a rate equal to or higher than 25%. By 2009, 10 years later, only one state, Colorado, and the District of Columbia had a rate lower than 20%, and 33 states had a rate of 25% or higher. So you can see like that increased very dramatically, very quickly, which is why they started referring to it as the obesity epidemic. So two scientists, Nicholas Christakis, sounds like a Greek man right there, that's a Greek name. My Greek peeps out there, you know it. Nicholas Christakis at Harvard Medical School and James Fowler at the University of California, San Diego, UCSD, were struck by the language being used by health officials and the media to describe this trend in obesity epidemic. They wondered whether weight gain could spread from person to person in much the same way as other contagious outbreaks like the flu. And to find out, they gained access to data from Framingham Heart Study, which has tracked more than 12,000 residents of Framingham, Massachusetts for nearly 32 years. So how interesting is that? The members of this community have reported the intimate details of their lives for decades, including weight changes and their social connections to everyone else in the study. Weird. But when Christakis and Fowler looked at participants' weight over time, they saw what looked like a real epidemic. Obesity was infectious, spreading within families and from friend to friend. So when a friend became obese, a person's own future risk of becoming obese increased by 171%. What? Like, how insane is that? When a friend became obese, a person's own future risk of becoming obese increased by 171%. A woman whose sister became obese had a 67% increased risk, and a man whose brother became obese had a 45% increased risk. But obesity wasn't the only thing going around. Oh, Framingham. I'm sorry. I totally mispronounced that the first time I said Farmingham. Misread it. Framingham community. When one person started drinking more, the bar tabs and hangovers started to spread through the social network too. But they also found evidence for the contagiousness of self-control. So when one person gave up cigarettes, it increased the odds that their family and friends would quit too. Christakis and Fowler have found the same pattern of contagion in other communities and for willpower challenges as diverse as drug use, sleep deprivation, and depression. And as unsettling as it may be, the implication is clear. Both bad habits and positive change can spread from person to person like germs, and no one is completely immune. So I found that absolutely fascinating because how many times in our lives have we heard the quote that you are a combination of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? Like that is something that we are told very often, whether that be, like I can look back at my own personal life and really reflect on times where I've been hanging out with a lower group of individuals. Like there was sometimes where I can look back in high school where I was not the nicest human being because the 4 other people I was hanging out with were bullies. And there are times in high school where where I was really influenced to do things that I may not be proud of now because of who I surrounded myself with. So in the same respect, when we surround ourselves with really positive influence, we can really level ourselves up. And so I really empower you if you are struggling with maybe there's things in your gap. Maybe you can see that you're not accomplishing your goals or you're continually in the same bad habits or, oh, thanks, Alex. I had a photo shoot today. Maybe, whatever might be coming up for you, whatever might be in your gap, this may be contributing to it. If you don't have the people around you who are rooting for you, encouraging you, and, in reality, leveling you up instead of bringing you down, it's going to be really tough to accomplish the things that you want to. And I have the perfect example of this, actually. I want to give my good friend, one of my best friends, Therese, a shout out because she has been, slowly but surely, following her dreams and taking massive leap after massive leap. And just today, she hosted a goal setting session. She created a Zoom call. She had, I want to say 10 people on this phone call, and they connected and they jived and they goal set. And what was super awesome is that I shared my goal setting practice with Therese. She uses my goal sheets, and she in turn now has a Zoom call where she's sharing the goal setting practice with people in her sphere. And what's really amazing about all this is that it's a trickle in a positive way, because I started goal setting and I was so committed to what I wanted to do and what my vision was. Therese was then empowered to start goal setting for her vision and for what her goals are. And then those people in Therese's sphere were empowered by what she was doing and by the leaps that she was taking. She recently moved to California, and she's gearing up to move other places too, because she's amazing and she gets to do whatever she wants in this life. But ultimately, the people in her sphere were empowered by what she was doing, and they therefore created a Zoom call, and now she is imparting her wisdom and her goal setting practice on other individuals. Amazing ripple effect, where maybe if Therese had surrounded herself with, 4 people who weren't of really support, maybe like if the 4 people that she was surrounding herself with were constantly at the bar or constantly like bringing her down, maybe they were always stealing things, I don't know. Maybe, like she has 4 friends who are just constantly in a state of stealing, and they're in a state of, what's the word I'm looking for? Scarcity, because they're always stealing, and she then in turn steals. Like, the people that you surround yourself with will in turn dictate what you're going to take on. And so, like influenza, like a sickness, be aware that the people that you're surrounding yourself with can literally, to the tune of 171%, you are more likely to become obese if a close friend becomes obese. That is insanity. That is so infectious. Behavior can be really infectious. So be careful of who you're surrounding yourself with, and be careful of the behaviors, especially that you're allowing into your sphere, because you get to protect that space and you get to be fully responsible for what's in your space. And if it's not good, cut it out. Cut it out. All right, I'm going to go wash all this makeup off my face. I feel like I need to go do something fabulous. What do you think I should go do? John and I were joking. John's at the gym right now, and we still have a bunch of work to do. But I was like, damn, we should have gone on a date, because look at me. I got all this makeup, and it's like our 9-year anniversary, but we're going to do something special very soon. Thanks for the compliments, you guys. It's good to have you on here. I love you. Hope this was impactful and that you found it valuable. Let me know. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.